Hi, everybody. I just wanted to share with you an experience that I had a few years back. When I was working for Head Start, I was able to visit a place called Reggio Emilia. Yes, there it is, Reggio Emilia. And it was quite an experience. It was something that I'd been looking at for some time. But I wasn't quite sure whether or not I'd be able to do it. A little bit of history quickly. Reggio Emilia is a city in northern Italy, so thus Reggio Emilia, the name of the place, of the schools. There was a man named Lorenzo Malguzzi who was kind of a civic leader at the time. And after World War II, there was a great deal of damage to all of the schools. Some of them were razed to the ground. So there was no place for children to go to school after the war was over. And so this man got a bunch of folks together, including parents and teachers, and began talking about what they wanted to envision for some new schools that would be built. They looked at all of the current pedagogy at the time. So they looked at Montessori. They even looked at Head Start over time. They looked at anything that was new and different. They looked at all of the folks who just happened to be researchers in education and kind of came up with a concept for their schools. And basically, the philosophy is based on an idea that children construct their own learning, and they do that through the environment, but they also do that with some guidance from others, from parents and from staff. So the parents and the staff help to set it up, and then children do the learning and the construction of their own learning. So I was sitting at my desk when I was working for Head Start as Education and Disabilities Director, and a flyer came across my desk that talked about this visit to Reggio Emilia that was open to folks who were in the early education field. And I thought, wow, what a great opportunity that would be. And immediately, of course, I said to myself, well, I can't possibly do that because, well, I don't have enough money, and I don't have enough time, and I don't have this, and I don't have that, and all of the barriers that I threw up. And I put this flyer aside. And then later on, as I was going through some of the stuff on my desk, I came up with a flyer again, and I looked at it, and I thought, you know, why not? Why not? I've got plastic. I have a credit card. So I got a hold of my husband, and we talked about it, and he said, well, yeah, if you're going to go, I want to go too. So I went for a week. It was during spring break, so I wasn't required to be at work at the time. My boss was totally behind the idea. So it was a great venture, and we headed out for a week of experiencing Northern Italy and Reggio Emilia schools. My husband got to play while I worked. It was a working visit, so I spent a lot of time in lecture and touring and stuff, but it was very enjoyable. So first I want to share the environment that I witnessed. It was quite remarkable, quite different, of course. We're talking about a different culture, a different idea, a different way of looking at things. So this is the outside of one of the schools. Pretty much unremarkable from the outside. It's just a plain old brick building. But when you go inside, you see something quite different. This is a mural that was inside the first part of the building that they called the atrium in this particular school. And it's a mural that the children painted. The first thing you see is wide open space. A lot of things are there, but the space is huge, so it doesn't look cluttered or overdone. There are children here that are engaged in many kinds of activities. On the left-hand side, you see a triangle mirror, has a mirror on all sides, so children can actually see themselves from all different perspectives. There's a little store thing back in the left-hand corner. There are a couple staff and a parent talking. There's children playing dress up. There's another little store idea in the right-hand side. On the right-hand side, there's some mirror panels. Also, you can see there's a child that's playing on a little stand-up scooter. So quite a bit of activity. And there's a great light. There's light everywhere. Over here back in the corner, of course, is on the right-hand back corner is the big mural. There's a lot of light, and you can see there are plants growing everywhere. Here's another view from in the atrium, looking at the other direction. And this kind of yin and yang shape that's in the middle is a dress-up area. There's dress-up stuff inside of that area, so it allows for some privacy, and it's very open. You can look inside of it. There's a couple of children that are dressing up and running around. This is not a quiet and sit-down play area. This is an active play area. There's the triangle mirror again, you can see. Here's inside of the triangle mirror, so you can see that children can see themselves from all different directions. Very important for self-image. Here's looking out the atrium windows into a center area. You can see there are easels set up outside in the central area. Once again, plants everywhere, and a big kind of a scope there that the children can look through to look at things that are outside. Here's inside of the little dress-up area, so nothing but hooks and on the walls in there, and they can go out and look in the mirrors. And they can talk to each other about what they're wearing. This is a puppet show theater that's also in an open area where children can sit and view the puppet show, and there you can see there's a child, a boy or a girl, I'm not sure, with puppets in the area, in the back in the stage area, and they are doing the puppet show for their friends. This is the little store area. It shows this child is using real weights and measures to measure the peas, the beans, to weigh them and to find out if he could balance them. So using real things that work as opposed to toy items. This is one of the classrooms. This is a 4-year-old classroom, and you can see they're sitting in small chairs and small tables. So this is kind of along the theme of keeping children's things child-size so that they're comfortable. You can see that there is a big screen on the right-hand side, and there's a projector on a table, and they're projecting some things that they have put up on the tray of this overhead projector onto the screen. One group of children is painting on a big, oh no, I think they have clay there. That's clay that they're manipulating, and then the other children are painting on a large table. This is an art area where they are doing clay work. This is once again a place where several children can go and create things during a regular class time. Their work is kept here as well. Here's some of the sculpture. These are 5-year-olds, so this is one of the sculptures that they've done as self-portrait in clay. These are mailboxes that were created in the classroom, and it's up on a big riser, so the children can walk up on the riser and check their mailboxes. There's steps up so they can get to the tallest ones. And they can leave letters for their friends or draw pictures for them. This is one of the classrooms. One of the children, or several children, have strung some materials and strings across this area in the classroom. There's some quite elaborate creations. You can see there's multi-level in this classroom. There are things on the walls. The windows are open. Children enjoying a computer. This is an old photograph and an old computer. These children are using real musical instruments in an area where there's lots of room to dance around, and with assistance from adults. Here again is the art room, the big art room with lots of materials in it. Notice the child sitting on top of the table, on this big table, and lots of space. And there's another child that's playing a cymbal as the others are creating. How many of you would allow this child, who's actually playing a xylophone, sit on top of the table? Here's a collection for sorting and for just looking at. It's quite beautiful. You can see that there's stones of different sizes and shapes in here, things that were found at the beach, pictures. These are things that children have brought in that have contributed to the collection, and so they are able to explore these objects and share them with each other. This is a child who's painting, these two children painting on a light table. Some of you may have seen light tables before. As a matter of fact, some of them may be in somebody's storeroom somewhere and no one ever uses them. And at Reggio Emilia, they used quite a bit of light and shadow with children to help them to emote and to help them to express themselves. So these children are painting on paper that is on top of the art, on top of this light table, and they're creating a still life of these flowers. They're in a vase sitting right there in front of them. They have real brushes, real paint. Here's another light and shadow example. This is an overhead projector again, and there are things that are on the overhead projector that children are noticing. They can put tape paper up on the screen, and they can trace it if they want to. But this is just an experiment on their own of working with light and shadow. Here's another example of light and shadow and children manipulating objects so that they shine up on the wall. And you can see once again they're multi-level. This child is not standing on equipment or furniture, but is up on a riser. Here's a fascinating picture. These children are pretending to be swimming in the ocean. There is a large shark projected on the screen, and they have diving equipment, and they're pretending to be diving with this shark. Here's another example of shadow play. So children on the back are putting things in front